What's up, guys? This is a different kind of video that I don't typically do. I wanted to do a follow-up to the previous video that I did release, card in the top right, where I talked about my raw thoughts on the hero pass. Now, if you don't know, I recorded that before this update post did come out, so I wanted to go over this update post and kind of give my thoughts on the replies that they've had from the player feedback. Obviously, player reception to the hero pass has not been good, like, at all. It's been very, very poor. Jagex has done a poor job, in my opinion, on dealing with it on top of that. But let's go through this, see what they've planning on changing, see what they said regarding it, and see how we can continue to move forward with this. So the first thing that they touch on is the daily missions. Initially saying it was taking around 20 to 40 minutes to complete, with lamps tied to the tier rewards. I guess there's a possibility that I actually did my video after this post was put up, because when I did it personally, it took me about 15 to 20 minutes, which, as you can see down here, is saying what it's kind of expected to be taking. Now, they say based on the feedback, it's clear that attainable XP that's quick is something that everyone does value. And while I do think that it's kind of important, I will say, I said this in the last video, that I'm not a huge fan of quick, easy XP. I would like to see these daily missions kind of be backtracked into something more similar as to what they were, but integrated better with the yak track, or I'm sorry, I keep calling it a yak track, the hero pass, excuse me. So personally, as I said before, the thing that I would like to see is these daily challenges still giving you the weekly rewards, so those tiers that we were getting prior to this change, but kind of scale back the XP a little bit. It looks like completing daily missions will give you 100% bonus XP for the specific skill, and is going to be reducing the time. Now, if I have to guess, the XP we get is not going to be happening with the Iron Man accounts. That it was the meta for training for a lot of skills for Iron Man mode. It doesn't look like, my guess is it's probably not going to count, because I believe these are lamps that you get. We're probably not getting lamps, obviously, and nor do I think we should get lamps. However, I do think we should get awarded some XP in compensation. It does look like they're reducing the amount of time that it's going to take to get all the XP that you would get, as though it's only going to be daily mission tier 1 and tier 2 giving you the XP, with tier 3 just giving you additional hero points. Personally, I don't think really what they're addressing was the biggest issue with the community regarding the daily missions. It was the fact that the dailies are now taking longer, when they said that the stated goal was to reduce daily escape. Realistically, the old daily challenges didn't take that long. I could literally flick on mobile, do it in a couple minutes, and then bounce out. It's definitely not possible with these. I have to spend some good time doing whatever skill is the mission of the day in order to progress and get those daily challenges done. Personally, I don't like this change, nor did I like the change away from the daily challenges, although, as I've said before, I wasn't a huge fan of how daily challenges functioned initially anyway. The next section they touch on is the visibility of it, like with the notifications, chat messages, and audio effects. I'm not really going to comment too much on this, because it's not something that I can really comment on, because as I said in the previous video, I have not played too much since its release, so I can't really say too much regarding this stuff. My understanding that it was kind of annoying, it was all over the place, and was very in your face, so hopefully this does make it a little bit better in that regard. But again, I'm not really going to comment too much on it, since it's not something that I really can. So let's move on to the content buffs. Now, I have a whole lot of opinions on this, obviously. Now, with the content buffs, they say their goal is to make people try the different content and use the buffs to incentivize checking out content, such as with the lumberjack buff, chasing and combo X pieces in the woodcutter's grove with the additional perk activations. Now, with the woodcutting buff and the artisan buff, I actually thought that these were not too bad, as I said in the last video. They're not overly game breaking. They're not good by any means, but they aren't horrible and game breaking in experience. The things that I thought were bad were both the trailblazer buff and the combat buffs. And they said in regards to the combat buffs, their idea is kind of the similar systems as things like the death touch dart. You get the benefit of the gameplay from it, but you don't get kill count, kill times, high scores, or anything like that. The issue isn't the fact that you don't get kill count, kill times, or high scores. No one really, I mean, yes, people do care about that, but that's not the issue. The fact of the matter is taking 20% off of the damage that you take effectively changes the fight. Like I said in the previous video, it's like taking a 500% kill, but Zamorak does the damage of a 200% kill. So you're opening up the rewards of a 500% kill to someone who cannot do it. I don't like that idea because I feel like that devalues what other people are doing. As I said with the Trailblazer buff, you know, if you're not doing the clue scroll with the Trailblazer buff, you're doing it not as efficiently as possible. Again, shafting clue scroll players. It's simply not fair to those people. You know, that is simply a game-breaking buff. They said that the design was intended to create a buffer system to allow players to explore and practice with the different things. Well, you already have something in the game designed for that. It's called practice mode. Now, your practice mode is just plain old really crap. Personally, I've said this before, practice mode does need a revamp. You know, if you want to have something like this, if you want people to engage with the content, there's two reasons people aren't engaging with the content. One, they don't like it, or two, it's crappy content. Now, I actually really enjoy Zamorak, and I think Zamorak content's really, really good. Part of the issue, in my own opinion, is that people are just kind of scared to try it. And you have made the right steps by doing things like reducing death costs and making combat far more inviting to other players, which is good. However, if this is your quote unquote reasoning to be able to give a content buff in terms of doing something like Zamorak, you know, you could do the same thing without attaching a price tag to it. Looking at the track, things like the Zamorak damage reduction, this is super far along the track. So you're not really inviting players to do it. It's just straight up doesn't match with what you've actually done. As a Premier member, yeah, you get those a little earlier, but you don't get them very soon if you're not a Premier member. So again, you're not really inviting those things. If you really wanted to do something like this, take your damage reduction, put it into practice mode, let the people try the practice mode, revamp practice mode so people can actually make it usable and functional, because it's really not in this current state. And then you can apply your damage reduction there so people get to try it out. All right. You already have story mode as an option. The biggest wall for Zamorak, in my own opinion, is those dungeon runs, which people don't like elite dungeons. I don't mind the dungeon runs. I thought the elite dungeon was actually pretty good, but you know, the dungeon isn't very inviting. There's no reason to actually do it outside of doing your 25 runs. So that is the gatekeeping, or that is the gate that's stopping people from doing that. You know, the practice mode itself, if you don't know how practice mode works, you still use all your supplies, you know, you still eat your food, this, that, or the other. You don't get any of that stuff back, and you don't get a drop, and you don't get a kill time or anything like that. You know, take a screenshot of take a snapshot of your inventory so you can use those supplies and not lose them. I'm not saying that practice mode should give you items and should give you rewards, but make it an actual practice mode so you're not using things. You can put the damage reduction in there so people can learn the mechanics too. That's absolutely fine. But, you know, implement this kind of stuff into your practice mode. Realistically, this is some good stuff in order to get people to engage and learn and be able to try this content, but it's going about it in the wrong way, in my own opinion. So in the next section, they talk about how they've heard our concerns around the content buff, both in the initial selections and the fears of where the system can go. And they want to reassure players that the Hero Pass is designed to be rewarding and fulfilling, and the buffs are part of that system. Now, that is the issue, in my opinion. The fact that this is part of the system, and this is how you make the Hero Pass rewarding and fulfilling. The Hero Pass should be rewarding and fulfilling based off the cosmetics that are put on the system, trying to unlock said cosmetics, trying to unlock those things. The buffs that they give, let's go back to using Zamorak. You know, they want to get people to engage with it, and that's fine. You know, I mean, you can implement that in order to get people to engage with it, to get people to practice the things like that by implementing something like that into your practice mode. You know, like I said previously, the practice mode is an issue. If you apply something like that to practice mode, well, then, hey, people might actually use practice mode. They might engage with the content and say, okay, you know what? I can actually handle this kind of content. Let me actually try it. You know, as I said before, if people aren't engaging, it's either A, they don't like the content, B, the content's poorly made, or C, the content has a gate to it that is not good. They also said they're going to be taking a look at where the content buffs are placed and take aim to the buffs to be easier to acquire through organic play. That's a little better, I guess, but it's still the issue that it's part of it at all. You know, looking at where they are specifically on Premier versus the free-to-play version, well, turns out that they're not very common on the free-to-play version. So, you know, these are the people that are probably not going to be able to try it anyway. These are the people that aren't going to be engaging with the more difficult content, but you put a gateway to allowing them to engage with the content so far down the line that they have to pay to get it. That's the issue. That is the problem with what's going on, and they don't seem to be either A, they don't seem to be getting it, or B, they just straight up seem to be ignoring it. This last paragraph actually does give me a little bit of hope, but not too much, because again, they've proven again and again that they've taken any trust that the player base has in the company and just kind of tossed it away. You know, they're saying from building on that, they want to take a dialogue with the community on what buffs should be on things like this and how we would enjoy it. But, you know, realistically, I doubt they're going to do that, because again, in order to make it, in order to sell these things, they have to make it good enough where people are going to want to buy it. Unfortunately, from the looks that they're taking, it's going to be around destroying what the integrity of the game. In regards to Iron Man accounts, in the video I put up last time, I talked about how the majority of our rewards as Iron Men are Ottomans, and more Ottomans. They said that they're, with the announcement from last week, they're going to look at future options to make the hero pass more valuable for Iron Man accounts, which, okay, that's fair. That's good, I guess. Still not exactly what we're looking for. Building on the feedback, they're looking at discussing with Iron Man players to be able to claim XP from daily missions. Now, I've said this before. I wasn't a fan of how dailies worked for Iron Men in general. I think they were too heavy in the amount of XP that you got basically for free. I mean, I will say I'm a person who used it, but I also do think that it's been in the system for so long that it's a part of the system now. You know, so many people, myself included, as I said before, have hit max levels, have gotten 120s thanks to daily challenges. As I said in the previous video, I would not have 120 dungeoneering without daily challenges. So in my own opinion, as I said in the video before, I think they should re-implement the old system, scale back the XP, but bring back the rewards. The rewards are the more important part, like the aura refreshes, the DTDs, and things like that. They said they're going to be talking with the Iron Man community. I'm genuinely curious as to where they're doing this, because I personally haven't seen anything. I'm sure it's probably in a bigger Iron Man clan Discord or something like that. But the long-term focus to make the hero pass more rewarding for the Iron Man accounts. So I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to be doing that, what suggestions they're going to be taking, but that's something that we'll need to be following very, very closely. And in the final section, they talk about the progression and how moderately active players should achieve 99 in their normal playtime, which includes the majority of the rewards, and active players, which is around 30% of the player base, should be able to reach 120 in normal playtime. Now, personally, I probably fit somewhere in the middle of these two. On days when I have a lot of time to play, I probably play 3 to 4 hours a day. On days when I have less time, it's probably less than an hour, in all honesty. So I probably fit somewhere in the middle. I'm not expecting to finish this myself. You know, it's possible I do, but I don't think so, especially with the fact that I'm trying not to do too many of the daily challenges unless I have the ability to, and it's following in something that I'm doing. They also do mention, as they said in the daily mission section, that a sizable chunk of the hero points are balanced around the special missions, which is another reason that I'm not expecting myself to be able to finish. Now, these updates aren't visible to us right now, so they understand where it comes from, but that they're kind of saying, hey, calm down, bro. It's going to be okay. I don't think it's going to be okay, though, in my own opinion. And they finish off while saying it's not directly relative to the hero's feedback, hero pass feedback. They want to take a quick note and talking about how they clearly got it wrong and how they advertised this and how they pushed this. You know, if you don't remember, it was pushed as a major content update. This is not content. But so I guess that's a good thing that they, you know, are looking at how they're going to be sharing this stuff in the future. It's again not good, and hopefully they do better. But it's not even just about how they presented it. It's more so what they're actually doing with it. And that's what they need to fix. I'm not letting up on this. I don't think this is a good thing, and they need a lot of fixing in order to make this acceptable in my eyes personally. On a side note, this is actually exploding well beyond RS. If you don't know, Asmongold actually did his own video regarding this, when reacting to Protox's video on this, which was definitely an interesting watch, and while not good for the company, definitely good for us as players, in my own opinion. I personally am going to try to keep up with this and do a little bit of a better job of trying to get my content out on this stuff as soon as possible. So, as always, I hope you have a wonderful day. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.